Welcome to Success in Business. We are a panel of entrepreneurs who are experts in our field, and we're here to share our nuggets of wisdom with you. And today our topic is life outside your comfort zone. And we're going to start with introducing ourselves, and we'll start with Janet.
Hi, everybody. So a few years ago, my life absolutely fell apart, and I was pushed out of my comfort zone. So basically, I was a young dentist. I was at my very first job. I was in the middle of a divorce that was really painful for me. And I drove to work, and on my way to work, my car was totaled. I get to work, a job that I really liked. And I was, new at the job, but I thought things were going really well. And one of the head partners came in and said to me, "We're expanding the business. Do you want to chip in and become a partner?" And I was like, so shocked, like, right now, I can't become a partner. I'm in the middle of a divorce. My money is tied up. And he says, "Okay, you're fired." So in the course of 24 hours, I got divorced. I was getting divorced because my first husband was having a little affair with his dental assistant. 2, I got fired out of the clear blue sky, and my car was totaled. Now I needed a lot of things. So I sat in my master bedroom and I cried through the night in a corner in a little ball. About 7 o'clock in the morning, the phone rang, and it was my sister. And she said, "Janet, what are you good at?" I said, "Good at? I don't think I'm good at anything right now." She goes, "No, you're good at one thing, shopping. You have a big list. You need a new house, a new job, a new husband, and a new car. So if I were you, I would start shopping." And that was the beginning of the rest of my life. So I wrote a book. It's called "If You Want an Egg Roll, Get Out of the Pizzeria." And it's all about how to start looking at life as a giant opportunity when things don't go your way. The key I learned is not when you're overwhelmed with the how, don't ask how, ask who. Who is going to help me get what I need? It's Dan Sullivan's words, but basically, I wrote a shopping list, and a few years later, I just want to say everything I needed, everything that was on my shopping list, I got. That was back in my comfort zone, and hopefully today I can give you all my tips. Thank you.
Awesome. You got everything on your shopping list. Woo! That's awesome. I love it. Oh, so good. So good. Awesome. Okay, we'll turn the time over to Heather.
Hi. Oh, where have I gone? Well, don't you love that when you hit the wrong button, that takes you outside our comfort zone. Hi, I'm Heather Joy Bassett, and I'm from Melbourne, Australia. And I live a pretty grand, adventurous life of extreme highs and extreme lows. And one of the things that I've been is a world champion in lacrosse. Back in the 80s, I played in America. We won in America. I've been a podiatrist for 40 years, and I let go of being a podiatrist. I let go of my clinic that I had for 35 years and 8 months. My clients, some of them that I'd had for 35 years and 8 months. I've sold my house. I've sold my chattels. I've let go of relationships that no longer serve me. And during all of that, it was very uncomfortable. So definitely what I would consider outside my comfort zone. And then the proximity of people that I'd known and loved along the way fell away. And that's, again, a very uncomfortable experience at that time, that void that is created that then makes the space for other people that are Stacey, David, for Janet, for other people to come into my life, and exploring how we can make a difference in people's lives in different ways has been at times extremely uncomfortable for me. So that's a brief hello from Heather in Melbourne, Australia right now.
Excellent, excellent. I have some kids in the background, and so I may mute myself from time to time if they become too vocal. Okay, so then we will turn the time over for David for his introduction.
Hello, everyone. I'm David Hamilton. I'm the second of seven and I was born in Jamaica. I grew up in the Cayman Islands and I moved to London, where I now live in Birmingham, England. I'm a property investor and I'm also a civil engineer consultant. Life outside my comfort zone, moving from one country to another, then being the second of seven, the pressure was always on. Being an entrepreneur now, every single day I have to go through the process of whether I'm going to be living in that comfort zone, or being outside. And, being outside now, in terms of everything I have to deal with, I've got a wife, I've got 3 kids, and the stresses of life, it does build up. And in terms of our business, being in property, civil engineering consultancy, the stresses get to us. And ultimately, you have to form that ability to go beyond and saying, you know what, I can push a little bit further and ultimately push yourself to live outside your comfort zone. So yeah, so that's a little introduction about myself. I do thrive in challenging environments. Previously, I didn't have those capabilities of doing that now. And I have come to a place now where, you know what, being outside my comfort zone, it's the next levels, the coaching and all these wonderful people. As you said, Heather, being on this panel with Heather, yourself, Janet, and of course, Stacey. So I thank you for welcoming me to this panel. Just to share some of the stresses, I've got so many different examples of me living outside my comfort zone, especially me managing construction in large civil engineering projects here in the UK. So I've got so much different examples, and every single day, as a property investor, as an entrepreneur, we have to deal with challenging circumstances, and ultimately we're gonna discuss them more further. And happy to be here with this wonderful panel of individuals just sharing their stories from all over the world. So David Hamilton from Birmingham, England. Thank you.
Thank you, David. That was fantastic. We're so happy that you're here. Okay, I'm Stacey McPherson, and I'm the mother of 7 children and grandmother of 3 children. I've been spending the last 10 years living internationally. So 5 years in Thailand, 3 years in Israel, and 2.5 years in Europe, in Hungary. And that's been a fantastic experience for me and for my children to experience different, very diverse cultures and people, and learning their languages and being able to rub shoulders with such amazing, diverse people all over the world. So that's been a fantastic experience. And then I am the co-founder of Happy Life Results company, and it's an LLC, and I'm co-founders with 3 of my adult children, which absolutely amazing. Like being able to work with my grown-up children and follow their journeys and help see their personal growth. It's just been the most amazing experience. And so I just am so grateful for that. In the company, I'm a business coach, and I help people improve their financial states, their situations financially, without sabotaging the other areas of life. And when you look for a coach, you want to see that coach lives the lifestyle you want. Do they live the lifestyle you want in all areas of their life? And then the areas that are important to you and that you care about. And so that's something that I bring to the table. I've been happily married for 30 years this year and have a warm, rich, loving family relationship with each of my kids and my grandkids and daughters-in-law and fiancés-in-law. And it's been amazing. And so then relationships, and then I've also taken a high level of fitness, taking care of myself on a high level of fitness and challenging myself every day, and just being still young and active, even though I could have lots of excuses for not being. so that's been fun. But I'm just so happy to be here, and I love this panel and having the opportunity for these high class, amazing people joining me on my panel and just share their wisdom. So we'll go ahead and start with our panel time, and we'll start with Janet.
Hi, well, that's a hard act to follow. So basically, I was a dentist for 35 years, and I was a TMJ specialist, and I dealt with the emotional component of pain. I truly believe that muscles have muscle memory from emotions, and that stress, good stress, bad stress, any stress, plays its role in health and wellness. I do really strongly believe in your attitude, in your mindset, but I think the most important thing of all is that you have a clear vision of what you want, what you hope to achieve, and you could actually feel it, see it, taste it. I'm a long believer in vision boards. I've made vision boards for many, many years. Years ago, when I first got divorced, I made a vision board and I put down a husband, a baby boy, a swimming pool, a gazebo, all these things. When I was dating my husband, the cabinet opened and the vision board fell on the floor because I always keep it where you can see it. And he says, "What's this?" And it was one of our early dates. I said, "Oh, this is my future." And I was really specific. That's the key, about how much money I needed and a few other things. And he said, "Who's that?" I said, "My future husband." He says, "I think it's me." That was early in our life. I've made many vision boards, and I really have been able to manifest those things in my life because it's really clear to me what I'm looking for. And I think that that's one way to get out of your comfort zone, is get a clear vision of what you want. Don't stay in what you don't want. Be clear about what you want. In my book, I have a power formula, and I'm going to teach it to you now. I call it Me Power, and it's mental strength and emotional wellness. That's the me. It's about you. They say put on your mask first. So start with you. Get yourself strong, mentally and emotionally. Now the power. The P is posture. It's standing up straight and stepping into what you want. Posture yourself for the job. Posture yourself for how you want to show up. Don't forget about that. Posture yourself. Be clear about how you want to stand up into this situation. Always for oxygenate. Always take a deep breath. As a TMJ specialist, I know one of the biggest problems is when people breathe in their shoulders. Their shoulders are like this. When your shoulders are touching your ears, you're not getting a full breath. If you lower your shoulders, it opens your chest and you get a fuller breath. The W is water. Remember, your brain is 85% water. Stay hydrated. If you think you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated. If you pinch the skin right here and it goes flat like that, it means you're hydrated. If the skin just stays really tight and no jumpiness to it, take a drink of water. Remember that I'm going to really go a little bit on a limb here. I also believe that you need to intention your water, hydrate me. Just realize that water kind of is like a living thing and you want it to flow through you. You want to get the flow in there. The E of power is for exercise, eat right, energize yourself. If you're hungry, eat. If you're thirsty, drink. But don't confuse being hungry, what's eating you. If something's eating you and you're not hungry, food is not the answer. You need the right answer for what you're looking for. Maybe sometimes you have to stop. I know that right now we're in the COVID crazy and you hear about people gaining 15 pounds during COVID. Honestly, at the beginning, I was alone for a few weeks. I'm a really social person. I was alone for a few weeks. And the me, myself, and I is all I had to talk to. And we were not getting along too well. It took a long time for me to separate. I am what my identity is. The me, which is me, me, me. Why me? I need you. I have so many needs. Me, me, me. And the myself, well, what are you going to do about it? I had to balance those three things. And I think that is the key to getting out of your comfort zone, is that inner voice, making sure that I, me, and myself get balanced. I feel like we all like to suppress the me. I'm not needy, I'm fine, I got it. But the me is preventing you from moving forward, because I believe that me is talking to you every single day. Let me just go on with the R now. The R is your resources. What can you do to help yourself? If you just keep asking, how am I going to get this done? How am I going to do this? How am I going to get out of my comfort zone? You're asking the wrong question. The right question is, who is going to help me get this done? The who. Hire help. Get an assistant, whatever it is, but don't take it on yourself. Nobody can take it on themselves. One thing I always like to think about is your inner voice is what's powering you. Albert Einstein says that the imagination is always stronger than willpower. Well, let's use the imagination to our benefit. Where are these thoughts leading you? Are they leading you into the negative? Are they leading you into shoulda, coulda, woulda? Are they leading you to worry or excuses? If you stop for a minute and you analyze your thoughts, imagine where they're leading you. I hope that all those tips, I live from Brooklyn, I'm from New York, I talk fast, but I hope all those tips help you to get through the COVID crazy, make everything your comfort zone so that you're always living in what you want, that you have a clear picture of who you are and what you want. Thanks.
Oh, amazing. Thank you, Janet. Me power. That is so memorable. I love it so much. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to go next with Heather. Heather, go ahead and share your wisdom with us.
Thank you. Yesterday I was out with we had 4 generations together, my parents, myself, my daughter, and my grandchildren. And my grandson was really tired and he was struggling to walk. And my daughter said, well, let me carry you. And he's like, no, I can't. You can't carry me. And my daughter was like, yeah, let me carry you. If you're that tired, let me carry you. And he's like, no. What will people think? And my daughter told me that story last night, and I sat with it and thought, wow, here's someone at 5. He's very tired, and yet he can't, in that moment, be seen being carried by an adult at the age of 5. That was so outside his comfort zone. And I just look at the conditioning that we put on each other without even being aware of it from when we're so young about, what we should be doing, what it should look like. And as Stacey knows, one of the things that I love to explore is different profile systems. And one of them is human design. And when I explore in that, there is no 2 people the same. And we already know that on some levels. But as we go into a deeper level, everyone is here to bring a different perspective to the world, to do things in a different way, slightly different or dramatically different. And yet so often we're trying to do things the same way, speak the same way, fit in some way to a group, stay silent, speak up. There's so much conditioning. And I think the biggest thing is that so many people I meet around the world, from very successful to people on the start of their journey, is it seems to me that most of us spend probably most of our time living outside of our comfort zone in a different way, so a slightly different perspective. We're born naturally to be in flow, to do things a certain way. But then when we get in groups, it's like, oh no, we need to rearrange ourselves to fit into this group. And so there's a natural flow state that we have if we're being and doing who we're designed to be. And many of us go through those struggles. And I think for me, exploring, looking back over 6 decades, I have that luxury, is then often people are not living what they're naturally designed to do, which automatically puts us outside our comfort zone. That means we're not in our comfort zone. So even the question of what is our comfort zone, how much are we transitioning and shifting, trying to be something that we're not? And it's across the globe. It's people everywhere when you stop and really go deeper into it. And I love listening to Fred, which some of us will know here, a lot of people probably on the call, billionaire Fred is affectionately known. He plans everything. He's a planner. And the same as Stacey is a very, very a planner. And in human design, that was called a generator. And I love that when Fred stood on stage and he said, I plan every detail. And I was like, I love that he does that. And when it's at his place, he's very aware that I don't plan every detail. When we're on stage, he said, I plan every detail unless I'm with JT Fox. And so that uniqueness of bringing a different flavor, a different perspective in, when we go, okay, there's not that one way. Not everyone has to be linear, detail orientated. Fortunately, if you're doing architecture, yes. When you're doing a filling or something, yes. I mean, podiatry, when I was doing surgery, yes, there is specific lineal processes. But outside of that, my comfort zone is not to plan every step of every way. And yet I've had so many coaches say, you need to do this, this, and this. And it's like, I can't do that. It's not naturally who we are. So if I go back to my grandchild, with his energy type, he does get very exhausted. And yet even at the age of 5 already, he is trying to conform to what the other energies around him are. So one of the things, rather than for me giving tips, is just exploring and sitting back and going, really, what is our natural way, even of speaking? I have had many speaker coaches, and the first one was Glorious. It started with Humiversity. It was such a great place and a great way to learn speaking. But even within that speaking, that there's one way of speaking, that this is the way that we have to speak, it shut down my natural way of speaking. And again, when I explore through the lens of human design, we all have a natural way of being, a natural way of doing. And the more we do that, the less drama we have, the less hassles we have, the less illness we have. And yet I would question, and perhaps even argue, how much we're all living outside of our comfort zone, because we're not naturally being and doing who we're designed to be. We're not naturally in that flow state of speaking the way we are. And then there's so many formulas that work for a person, and then we're like, okay, we can try it on. Oh, well, that formula worked for me. I think that importance of taking the pieces, the bits that absolutely work for you, and then letting go of the bits that don't work, they don't serve. And then we can play in that permission of everyone literally being and doing exactly who they're designed to be, because I believe that is the way we will change the world. I think that is the way that we'll have the biggest impact. And that is the way we can solve all the problems that there are out there in the world, if we naturally be and do who we're designed to be, rather than living outside the comfort zone. So the question is, what does living outside our comfort zone really mean?
Wow.
Excellent question. So much food for thought. Think about what your definition is, and I love it so much. Thank you so much for sharing, Heather. Okay, well, welcome David to the platform.
Wow, that's incredible, Heather. As I've mentioned, I've got 3 brothers and 3 sisters, and I know there are a lot of people who has, many other siblings, being born in Jamaica and then having to move to a new country. I grew up with, hardworking parents. My parents, they were always at work. And I found, in terms of being the second oldest, I had to always be that one leading by example and also looking after my brother and sisters. And it led me to having to step up. Then I moved to the Cayman Islands, and that was nice. That was great as a youngster. Then I moved to the UK, living here, and ultimately having that responsibility. And then I decided to take on the journey of becoming a civil engineer. Becoming a civil engineer, you require precision, and it's about developing that ability. And Heather, you mentioned it there, step-by-step planning and making sure things, because if we don't do things correctly, there could be injuries to humans, roads can fall down, and so forth. So I needed to have that precision as a civil engineer. I continued pushing on, and I was so driven and ambitious in terms of being a civil engineer. I carried on, and I continued where I took on more responsibilities. And then I became a manager in civil engineering, managing now to where I'm at now. I provide consultancy service to multi-million-pound civil engineering projects. And when things go wrong, it's not about being in your comfort zone in managing a team, managing people. You need to be able to step into that zone and saying, okay, I'm quite uncomfortable, but how am I going to deliver and manage the individuals and just bring things back? Because when things go wrong, you have to try and bring people together. And in terms of it, being an engineer, being a dad of 3 now, having a wife and encompassing everything, I always have to look in terms of my day. How can I find more time? So one of the things I did, I wasn't able to find enough time in my day to make sure I have enough time for my family, to make sure I have enough time for my property business. And my coaches, one of the things they said to me, what about if you were to wake up a little bit earlier and go to bed a little bit later? And I'm sure you've all, tried waking up a lot earlier and going to bed late. And one of the things I did, I went from waking up at 6 a.m. in the morning, and then gradually what I should have done, I was told I should go 5 minutes every day where I go to bed, wake up a little bit later. And I said, nah, I'm going to go all out. I went from waking up at 6 a.m. in the morning, and then I went to 5 a.m. immediately the following day. And that was a huge crash. Waking up at 5 a.m. was such a difference. I was absolutely shattered. And, many people try that. And, I carried on because, I've always been that strong-minded individual. When I set myself a vision and I have that goal, I want to do it. And I failed miserably. I was so much outside my comfort zone. I was really, really feeling the strain of it. But I carried on. So I continued waking up at 5 a.m. and I noticed that extra 1 hour earlier generated so much more time. It allowed me to do a little bit more planning, to work on my business and the various things, whatever there was I needed to do. And then I thought I could push myself a little bit more. Now, remember, I'm already outside of my comfort zone. So I then went from waking up at 5 a.m. to then waking up at 4 a.m. I didn't bother with the 5-minute intervals of having to work backwards. I went straight in. And again, the following day, it was tough. I crashed and I continued. So I went on and eventually waking up at 4 a.m., I continued waking up at 4 a.m. and it's not easy. I'm not saying to everyone, this is what you need to do in terms of push yourself to wake up at 4 a.m. But that was outside my comfort zone. And to this day, in terms of my productivity levels has gone up. In terms of what I do notice it. And like I say, waking up just a little bit early, I'm not saying to everyone, it's your cup of tea, as we say in England, you have to wake up at 4 a.m. But I get up early, I go to bed later, and I notice that I'm achieving so much more. I feel good. And one of the things I do, I work out in the morning. So I make sure I have a workout. So to ensure that whilst you are outside of your comfort zone, you need to have a well-balanced diet. I'm not a dietitian, but of course you need to make sure, eating properly and then you have enough energy throughout the day. Is it hard? Yes, it is. And just taking it back, as I say, I grew up seeing my parents working extremely hard. So now as an entrepreneur, a civil engineering consultant, I'm currently managing a project, which is a 40 million pound project in the UK here. And is it stressful? Yes. Is it outside of my comfort zone? Yes. Every single day I have to manage a team, and ultimately that team, I am responsible for the actions. And if there's anything that goes wrong, I have to regroup everyone and, ensure we have those solutions to, first of all, calming the individuals down, because sometimes when people get outside of the comfort zone, it takes them off track. Their minds just wanders, and it's really hard to bring that back in and point people back in the direction in terms of that leadership, providing that leadership. So I'm outside my comfort zone a lot, and I have learned to deal with it, dealing with sleep deprivation, dealing with children and, my family and so forth, encompassing that with the balances and having to deal with life. It's a challenge. It is a challenge. So the topic in terms of being outside your comfort zone, I think every individual, you need to pick one thing that you're going to make that small change with, whether it's, I don't know, waking up 10 minutes earlier, whether it's planning before a meeting 10 minutes earlier, that little bit of preparation will allow you, yes, you to step out that comfort zone. And then once you achieve it, you're going to look back and say, you know what, it wasn't so hard. I mean, I say that to my 5-year-old now, whenever there's something that she is struggling with, or my 8-year-old or my 11-year-old, we just have to pick that one small little thing that we're going to say, you know, we're very uncomfortable, whether it's jumping into the swimming pool, whether it's doing something, just pick one thing. And ultimately, we need to make sure that you can deal with that. It steps you out your comfort zone. And in the end, you will feel so much better, big smiles, and everyone will be much, much happier. Thank you.
Awesome. Oh, such good advice. I love that at the end, your different children, all their ages, and just the advice you're giving them to just really take action, take a small step. And actually that is exactly my first step. So I love how you just kind of segued into what I want to say. And it's I have 3 steps that I have used, and I was brainstorming all of these areas in my life that I've used them. And I just came up with one after another, and I'm like, this is a pattern and I'm going to share it. And I got so excited. So one is to break it up into small steps. That's my number 1. It's small steps. And number 2, I call new signals. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. And then the third is radical change. So those are my 3 steps: small steps, new signals, and radical change. And so I'll need to explain to kind of break it apart. What do those mean? So number 1, small steps. So sometimes when we're taking small steps at the beginning of doing something new, doing something outside of our comfort zone, we look at those small steps and we think, those steps aren't getting me very far. Like if you were to do, David, if you did those 5 minutes every day, it would be like, this isn't making much difference. 5 more minutes, it's not making much difference. But if you look at those small steps, not as how far they're getting you, but look that those small steps are what's helping you to bridge the gap between what's inside your comfort zone and what's outside your comfort zone. What we want to do when we live outside of our comfort zone is we want to try new things that are outside our comfort zone and bring them into our comfort zone, and then do that with something else. We don't always want to be living outside our comfort zone in all of the things that never make progress, always have it be uncomfortable. No, we want to take something uncomfortable, make it comfortable. And so that's the process that I've done in all of these areas. And it's so important to start with those small steps. And when you're doing the small steps, don't be thinking, how far am I getting? Be thinking, these small steps are what's taking this thing from outside my comfort zone to inside my comfort zone. So that's the purpose of the small steps. And I have to keep reminding my clients, like, no, the small steps are not trying to get you as far and fast as you want. No, they're just to get you uncomfortable to comfortable. And then you can start taking those huge leaps and bounds. Then you can add another hour to your day like David did. So those small steps, just to think about taking them, but also what are they there for? They're for that process. So that's one. And I would like to add a second part to small steps and add accountability. And you can have accountability in all different kinds of ways. I think the very best way is to hire a coach. But if you want to just put it out there on social media and say, I'm going to do this food challenge, I'm going to eat this way for this long. And if we can do it, if you do it on social media, make it specific and have a time frame. I'm going to do this for this long. I'm going to achieve this thing at this date. And then you have some accountability there, and you can update people on your progress. So social media is one way. Another one is friends. Whenever my friends leave, if I have friends that I haven't seen very often, which happens because I travel and live all over the world, but I'll say, next time you see me, I'm going to be doing this. Next time you see me, I'm going to be doing this. And I keep to it. It's not just I throw it out there. It's like, I've thought about it. These are my goals. Next time you see me, I'm going to be on stages. Next time you see me, my income's going to be at this level. So it's very fun. You can use your friends as accountability, but it's you committing to them to be this new person, to be doing these things that are currently not in your comfort zone. You can do the same thing with coworkers, but I just highly recommend a coach. A coach is just the best way to go. Okay, so that's number 2, small steps with the added accountability. Number 2 is new signals. And so this is the one I'm going to really dive deep for a second. So when you get the physiological signals, the physiological things, the reaction to a new thing. So you want to do something, it's outside your comfort zone. How do you feel? Those physiological signals or reaction seems like it's giving you new information, accurate information. It seems like it's there to keep you safe, and it seems like you should listen. It's like, oh, this is valuable. I feel this way. I need to, like, is this valuable information? But what I've experienced is that is inconsistently valuable. Sometimes those feelings are telling me not to do the very thing that would further my business the most. Those signals are telling me to do the very thing that would hold me back physically with my financial goals. Like, if it were consistently helping me be safe, be healthy, be well, have strong relationships, I promise you I would listen. But it's so inconsistent, right? So it's like, sometimes it's good information, sometimes it's not. So what I started to do is I started to label all of those physiological signals and feelings wrapped around something that's uncomfortable or new. I call them new signals. This is my body telling me, Stacey, this is something new. That's it. Nothing else. No more information than this is new. This is something you've never done before. This is outside your comfort zone. It's new. It is absolutely not telling me what is safe. It is absolutely not telling me what is good for my body or my future. It's just saying this is new. And so I have a responsibility to then use my smart, rational brain and decide if there is risk involved. I'm not saying go forward. Anytime you feel those signals, just run for it. No. I'm saying those signals are not giving you information. They're just saying something's new. Now you need to take the next step. And I call this step clear the table. It's part of new signals. And clear the table is, and my coach JT talks about this often. He says, do the best case, worst case, and most likely case scenario. Like, write it out. And I actually did a whole video explaining my steps for clear the table, and I'll actually link it below because it just explains this. But just being aware that you need to rationally look at what are the pros and cons, what are the benefits of taking this new step that's outside your comfort zone. Just realize that those physiological signals that say there's something wrong are not saying there's something wrong. They're saying this is new. This is new. Then you need to do your due diligence and find out where the risks actually are. So that's number 2, new signals with the added part of clear the table. All right, number 3 is, I'm so excited, radical change. And I promise you, no one told me, Stacey, you need to do this for success. Stacey, this is helpful. It's just something I did and I got good results. So then I just kept doing it. So what the beginning I said, take small steps. You're taking the small steps. You're not making a lot of progress at first. And you're just trying to get it from uncomfortable to comfortable. Pull it into your comfort zone to where now I'm okay. And now I can really do it. So then you're doing the radical change. Okay, so radical change is what you do is you're like, okay, what would be the craziest thing I could do in this category? What would be the most intense thing I could experience? Granted, you want to be careful, don't take unnecessary risks. But for example, when I travel, I wanted to be able to travel the world and have it be in my comfort zone. I wanted to be able to just decide this weekend, I'm going to this country, I'm going to see this and meet this person and go here. And I just wanted to be able to know how to do all the steps, book the flights, get the hotels, set up all the transportation, be able to get the places that I wanted to and eat the food I wanted to. And so I started out with small steps. I did it with people I felt safe with, people who would actually plan my itinerary. I did it small. So then I was ready. Now that I need to do something radical, because this is what something radical does. Something radical absolutely takes it from outside your comfort zone into inside. If you do something that's radical, then you actually change the way you view it. You're like, that thing that was so whatever, new and different, it's now part of my life and in an intense way. So I'll just really quick tell you when my radical change story with travel was I went to Indonesia with a backpack as a female, not knowing the language. And I went to an island that had no tourism at all. Zero tourism. So that was my radical thing. Like, if I can go in a country I don't know the language, I don't know, I don't know anything. I can say terima kasih. That's it. Like I knew nothing, and stay on an island, get to an island that has no tourism, and then be able to find a place to stay and food to eat and not get sick. Like that was my radical thing that I did. And then with public speaking, I took really small steps at the beginning. I went to Toastmasters. Everyone's there to practice public speaking. And then eventually, as all three of you know, that I eventually ended up on a stage with 2,500 people, the same stage as celebrities were on, and it was absolutely phenomenal. It was radical. So I've done this with so many areas: health, wellness, fitness, parenting, just a temporary push. Do something radical to change the way that you feel about it. And then it becomes part of you and it's no longer out of your comfort zone. So those are my 3 steps. Take small steps, new signals, and radical change. Thank you. And thank you all for joining us on the panel today. It was so much fun.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's great to hear the different stories and tips and ways to be and do in the world, so the audience can take them away. So thank you.
I love it. Yeah. Thank you all for joining us. It was so much fun. Okay, well, we'll see you all next time on Success in Business.